Hello everybody and welcome to episode 19 of our Let's Play on Duel Links. Today we are finishing the stage 6 speed characters that showed up and therefore can then start staging up other worlds from stage 6 to stage 10. And we will be starting in this episode with Vrains world because, well, Vrains world has a lot of characters at stage 10 that we can get, and also Playmaker is quite an important character to have for these unlocks, and once I have him I can level him up, which will be relevant later down the line when we are going for these unlock missions, because we need specifically Cyburst type monsters, and we can get free Cyburst monsters by leveling up Playmaker. So I want to unlock him as soon as I can and then pump experience points into him as soon as I can, so that he actually gets a few levels. But we start off in 5D's world and we are dueling Primo at level 30, who spawned in the world, and the three objectives that I have are: we summon Stardust Dragon, we perform 3 synchro summons in a single duel against him, and we defeat him with Shooting Star Dragon. Now, if we want to summon Shooting Star Dragon properly, we have to summon Formula Synchron or another level 2 Tuner Synchro monster, but Formula Synchron, come on, right? And we need to summon Stardust Dragon, which also gets this mission done. And then we summon Shooting Star Dragon with both of these, and that means just by summoning Shooting Star Dragon, we summon Stardust Dragon and get the 3 synchro summons done. So this is basically a mission that clears itself, but we need to make sure that Shooting Star Dragon is, of course, the one that gets his life points down to 0. When it comes to dueling Primo, you need to be careful not to synchro summon your monsters too soon, since he plays Lord Emperor Weissel, which can steal one of your synchro monsters and use it as an equip card. So I only synchro summon when I know it is the last turn of the duel and he can no longer summon or use his Lord Emperor Weissel to steal my Shooting Star Dragon. Therefore, I prepared everything and waited until I was ready, and then I put my 3 synchro monsters on the field, or 3 synchro summons, I guess. Then there is another mission that we needed to clear for Primo, which was that Yusei destroyed 20 monsters in total in other duels. Also here you have the deck that I've been using, not anything special. But Yusei had to destroy 20 monsters in duels against other duelists, like when I did all of these unlock missions, or when you're dueling Standard Duelist or whatever. So this is a mission that can passively be worked on, so that it clears itself. Also, there's one final mission for Primo, which includes having Antinomy, which is the reason I decided to go for Antinomy next and actually unlock him. We are dueling him at the gate at level 30, and Yusei has to perform 3 synchro summons in a single duel against him, summon Shooting Star Dragon, get his life points to 0 with Shooting Star Dragon, and win. So basically all that says is get his life points to 0 with Shooting Star Dragon. And if we do that, we clear all the other missions, because, as I mentioned before, 3 synchro summons are performed when we want to summon Shooting Star Dragon, and summoning Shooting Star Dragon is a requirement to reduce his life points to 0 with Shooting Star Dragon specifically, obviously. And if we reduce his life points to 0, we also win. Which means the only thing that I need to worry about is summon Shooting Star Dragon and get him to 0 with this. And then there is another mission that says versus Antinomy, we activate 3 trap cards in a single duel. And I could do it in this duel, or I could do it against him at level 10 or whatever. That doesn't matter. What matters is that against him at level 30, we do the 3 synchro summons, we summon Shooting Star, and we get him to 0 with Shooting Star Dragon, and of course win, as I said. Now his TG monsters can be quite a nuisance, especially when we consider that he thins out his deck with their effects when they go to the graveyard. He can add another TG monster from his deck to his hand, or in case of his synchro monsters, when they are dropped down to the graveyard from the field, because he's like his Wonder Magician here, it allows him to draw 1 card. Same with TG Power Gladiator and so on. And maybe the most infamous TG Synchro monster that I don't think he's playing at level 30 here is, of course, TG Hyper Librarian, which lets you draw cards like crazy. And that's not the point though. TG Hyper Librarian, as far as I am aware, is not in the game. If it is, let me know in the comments. because I would like to use it somehow. Anyways, his TG monsters can make it so that he runs out of cards quickly, and not only can he run out of cards quickly and therefore the duel ends before you have your stuff that you need, but also he can spam the field with his monsters to make synchro summons and then overwhelm you. Also, he has this one spell card that beefs up all of his TG monsters. For each TG monsters he has on the field by 300 points. So that actually is quite annoying as well, since it makes it harder for my monsters to run over them. Besides that though, I tried to apply the same strategy as I did with the Primo Duel, or in the Primo Duel, that I summon my Stardust Dragon and Formula Synchron during the same turn and make my Shooting Star Dragon. Now, Shooting Star Dragon can attack multiple times per turn if you excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and those 5 cards, when there are tuner monsters among those, it can attack multiple times depending on the number of tuner monsters you excavated. So it can attack up to 5 times. However, I usually do not go for that effect, since if I'm unlucky, and most of the time I am, Shooting Star Dragon won't excavate a single tuner, which means it cannot attack at all. So I'm better off just using its one regular attack. But be sure that there is this effect which allows you to basically kill your opponent in a single turn if you're lucky enough, or if your deck is well built and you have a lot of tuner monsters in there that you can use, or that you can excavate with Shooting Star Dragon's effect. So that said, we unlocked Antinomy, and that allows us to swap to him and use him for the final Primo mission. And that is that Antinomy duels Primo, and of course I can do this against him at level 10, and the objective is that we perform 2 synchro summons in a single duel with Antinomy against Primo. And we have cards like Junk Archer that we can summon, also Stardust Dragon. We could even try to summon a few of his TG monsters, if you so chose to do it. Like a TG Power Gladiator is added to your extra deck with the skill, and some other cards like Recipro Dragonfly, I think, is added. But also you get a single copy of TG Power Gladiator to your extra deck once you unlock Antinomy, so it is part of the starter deck. So you could summon that guy if you have what it takes, or you could summon the Stardust Dragon from the Stardust Nexus structure deck, Formula Synchron. You could even go the entire route up to Shooting Star Dragon if you wanted to, because just 2 synchro summons in a single duel against him should be possible. And you could even just perform 1 synchro summon and link that monster off, like your Junk Archer. You link it off into Gaia Saber, the Lightning Shadow, use the spell card a Feather of the Phoenix or any other method to get your synchro monster from your graveyard back into your extra deck, and then you can summon it again later when you have the materials for it. So it would be possible to get this stuff done with a single synchro monster if you already have access to a few cards, especially when I mentioned the Feather of the Phoenix, which is a starter deck card from Rio in Zale World. So you have methods of doing this. Unfortunately, it has to be synchro summon specifically, so activating Monster Reborn to just bring back the synchro monster does not count for that one. You have to synchro summon 2 times at least in a single duel against him. But I trust in your abilities to do that, and you apparently trust in my abilities to do it, so we are on the same page here and can do the mission. I'm waiting until I get all the stuff that I need. Usually I need tuners or non-tuner monsters, and I do not want to summon Stardust Dragon early, since my Hyper Synchron banishes my Stardust Dragon, and I like to have my Stardust Dragon on the field, so that is that. And honestly, when it comes to level 4 tuner monsters, I actually prefer something like Angel Trumpeter, which is a level 4 tuner with 1900 attack and 1600 defense that you can get from the box Future Horizon. And if a half-price gem sale is going on and I'm on a new account, I like to invest into Future Horizon, not just for the Angel Trumpeters, but also for Stardust Spark Dragon, which is a decent synchro monster that I like to use in my fresh account extra decks. And stuff like DD Warrior Lady helps us, and even a Tragodia, which is a level 10 monster that I used for the summon animation of Zephylon, the Ultimate Time Lord, for a zone, of course. And that one helped as well, since in that deck with that skill we are only allowed to play level 10 monsters in our main deck, and level 10 monsters are not summonable, but Tragodia, unfortunately for us, is, so that one helped me out in that regard as well. But you are not forced to go into Future Horizon, and for this account I did not, until everything of the recording was done. After that I decided to just go for it and buy a few packs of that. But not until the last second of the final episode of this series is over. Now we swap to GX World and we're dueling Axel at level 10 at the gate with Jaden, and the one mission that I have left for Axel is that we inflict 3000 or more points of effect damage in a single duel against him. For this I can use cards like Rime, the Solar Flare Dragon and other stuff, even the Vessel, if I can protect it or if I do the Vessel farm properly, and Stealth Bird is a card that you can get for free, so there are plenty of options. Also Thunder Crash and you name it. So 3000 effect damage, even without spending a single gem or card ticket or whatever, is absolutely possible, as I'm going to show you here in this duel. Then the remaining missions were that Jaden versus Axel had to win with 1000 or less life points remaining. I already covered that one. Jaden versus Axel summoned 5 warrior monsters. I already cleared that one as well. And Jaden versus Axel performed 2 fusion summons in a single duel, which I also cleared already. Now, when it comes to fusions here in GX World and with Jaden, a lot of the fusions are warriors. I mean, there are exceptions to this, but stuff like Thunder Giant or a Flame Wingman is a warrior and its materials are warriors. So by summoning these fusion monsters, you normally also get the warrior summons in. And the final mission for this, which does not have anything to do with dueling him, is that we collect a total of 3 fire attribute monsters, which happened as soon as I got this world, GX World 2 Stage 6, and then opened the structure decks and starter decks that I got for free, including the Joey starter deck from the beginner missions, which you can get regardless of your friend code stuff. And in that I found a few copies of Blue Flame Swordsman, which is a fire attribute monster. I think it was in that one, but doesn't matter. You will be able to collect fire monsters easily, even in Rush Duel when you level up someone like Luke with his level 6, I think, non-effect dragon monster that happens to be a fire attribute and can be obtained from leveling him up. And same is with Yuga, who has a fire attribute, level 6 spellcaster monster. So these guys would count for that summon, for that mission, for that collecting mission as well. So after clearing all of these missions, I can now show you the effect damage deck that I was using. Nothing special, nothing crazy, nothing in particular that you need to worry about. Just full transparency here that you see what I'm working with. And we also already unlocked Axel now, which allows us to go for another character that I have not unlocked yet, and that's in DM World, Joey. Not Joey, Tristan, of course. In my notes here it says swap to Joey, and I just read Joey and was like, oops. No, I swapped from who I was using, to Joey, and Joey now has to duel Tristan at level 20. While playing this, he never spawned in at level 20, so I had to go to the gate for this. This will be Joey's 3rd win overall against Tristan, which is one of the missions, and against him at level 20 we need to perform 2 fusion summons, which is the final mission I then have left to unlock Tristan. Before, just if you forgot about this, the missions were that Joey wins 3 duels against Tristan, versus Tristan level 10 we perform 2 tribute summons, versus Tristan level 30 we perform 2 ritual summons, and versus Tristan at level 30 we win without taking damage. And having said that, we can just do our usual fusion stuff. In one of the Joey starter decks, not from unlocking the character but from the beginner missions or whatever, I got stuff like Spirit Ryu and Warrior Digrapher that can be used to summon Ryu Senshi as a fusion monster, and normally I resort to that since Warrior Digrapher is part of my main deck at this point in time anyways, with its 1700 attack points. And therefore I just need to put in the 2 Spirit Ryu and then 2 or 3 polymerizations. I prefer 3 since it makes the soul stuff more consistent. And you do not even have to get the 2 fusions, 2 tributes and 2 ritual summons in against him in a single duel. It can be over the course of 2 duels respectively. For example, here I can just fusion summon against him at level 20 once, and then duel him again at level 20 and perform the second fusion summon. This is different to most of the other missions of other characters that of course have summoning certain monsters in mind when you have to do this all in a single duel. Yeah, and Tristan here in fact is the last character that I'm going to unlock for the time being until we can stage up some worlds, as I teased in the beginning of this episode. But let's actually talk about what we are going to do in this episode, or what we have done already. We unlocked Antinomy, we unlocked Primo, we got Axel, we will get Tristan here when this final mission is done, and we will stage up Vrains world from 6 to 10 all the way, and you do not need to go past 10. I mean, you could do that for more gems and stuff, and if you want to challenge yourself with these stage missions, because some of them require specific things to do, but for the purposes of unlocking characters, it is not necessary to go past stage 10 in any of the worlds, as it stands now. They of course could add more character unlocks in the future that state you can only get these missions to show up once you hit stage 20 in Vrains world or whatever, but I don't think they're going to do that. Anyways, after getting Vrains world to stage 10, we will be able to unlock Playmaker. And in the very end of this episode, I'm going to clear the 3rd and final bingo sheet of the 9th anniversary campaign, so that this finally goes away. But first things first, we of course are going to unlock Tristan next year. And it only takes a few seconds until we get this done. So, staging upwards, as I said, I want to get Vrains world to stage 10 first, so that Playmaker shows up and I have the chance of other characters like Blue Angel and Vrains spawning in at level 30 while I am staging up the other worlds, because when staging up the other worlds time passes, and passing time means that we actually can spawn in characters, theoretically. So I don't know the ratios, and it's of course down to luck and chance, but I think like after half an hour or so a character shows up, especially when you have the additional legendary duelist campaign going on, when you have 2 or more just 2 legendary spawns there. And yeah, so leveling up Playmaker, I said before, is important for me, since I want his Cyberse type monsters that I get from leveling him up, so that I can go for a Ghost Girl mission that states that we have to summon 8 or was it 9 Cyberse type monsters, and we have to win a duel against Blue Angel with Cyberse type monsters only. Now that we hit stage 10 in Vrains world, that was fast, we can duel Playmaker at level 10 here with Soulburner, since once you hit stage 10 in Vrains world, Playmaker shows up at level 10, and therefore you can duel him without using any of your gate keys, and the only objective for this character to be unlockable is that you win. And Soulburner just obliterated him, and I think it has to be Soulburner specifically that duels him, so not the Gore. But Soulburner wins against Playmaker, and that allows us to unlock Playmaker, and we swap to Playmaker so that I can get him a few levels in between episodes. And with that said, I can finally get some more resources from the bingo sheet that I was talking about. It is the 9th anniversary bingo sheet, and it has 3 sheets in total, so let me quickly claim all of these things and get it done. I mean, I do not need the card tickets or gems or whatever the rewards are for this, but it annoyed me that there is this thing, this icon with a red symbol on top of it, and it just disturbed my personal aesthetic. Thank you so much for watching.